Hi, and welcome back to the State Champs Esports Show. I'm Colin Graham, the Esports Manager here, and joining me today is my illustrious host, Ethan Williams.
Hello, hello.
We're going to take a moment before we start our show today and highlight our sponsors. First and foremost, we want to highlight Respawn Products. They have been kind enough this year to offer us the chairs and desks for our finale stage. They're fantastic. The products are amazing. And we just want to say thank you for what you've done for us. We also don't want to overlook some of our other sponsors, specifically Lawrence Tech University. Without them, this would never work. Also, Hungry Howie's, Stryker, and Michigan Legacy Credit Union. Let's get started with our divisions today. We're going to start with Division 1. Who do we have, Ethan?
All right, so for Division 1, as the record currently stands in our top spot, we do have Lake Orion High School at 80 points, followed closely behind by Star International Academy at 79 points. And that 1 point difference is just because Lake Orion has played one additional game. You know, it's very reasonable that Star International Academy will come out on top.
Right.
But yeah, they're very, very close, but they do have one game lag behind. And then we have Buchanan High and East Kentwood in the next slot, and they're tied for points. Lake Forest slot, 1 point behind them. And then we have Troy Naperville and International Academy Central bringing up the last three spots. And I believe that we had a game of the week in this division.
We did. This week we had Star International going against Lake Forest High School. It was a fun game to watch. Honestly, the whole game was a story of a split push York versus a very clean Lucian play.
Absolutely.
I honestly don't think that Lucian died a single time the entire game. We mentioned, I think last week or the week before, that we had a game of the week with a Zoe player, and it was a master's class on Zoe.
Oh yeah.
This was definitely a master's class on Lucian. Lake Forest, for the majority of the game, honestly, they led in gold. Led in gold for about 25 minutes.
York will do that to you.
He will. York just kind of did whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He just pushed lane, and the only thing they could do was put their Star International, put their Silas on him and got bullied, but that's the only thing they could do. It's the only way they had to stop him at all.
Yep.
We did have a fantastic play during that game. The Lucian and Lysandra ended up in a 2v4,
Yep.
and Lucian walked out with a quadra kill.
You cannot ignore a Fed ADC in a team fight.
You really can't. Honestly, they didn't pay any attention to him, did they?
No, they all focused down to Lysandra. He just cleaned him up.
That's just bad.
Yeah.
That's bad communication.
Yeah.
So I do want to make one other comment about Division 1. So coming into this year, everybody had a point total they started with. And Naperville North was one of our highest ranked teams. I honestly thought they would be, 1, 2, maybe 3. Mm-hmm. They have 1 win and 5 losses. They're sitting at 68 points. And man, Naperville, you got some work to do, man. You got to catch up.
Yeah, it just goes to show how powerful our Division 1 teams are.
Oh yeah. I mean, the reason we highlighted Star International this week is they have our only challenger level player who was playing on Lucian. So you should have paid attention to him again. Let's go into Division 2.
Absolutely. So for Division 2, we have Munster High School at the top slot with 65 points, but they have a few games above Carl Sandburg and Athens High School, who are both at 61. And right behind them, we have Dakota High School at 57 points, St. Clair High School at 55 points, University Lab High School at 53 points, Detroit Catholic Central at 51, and then De La Salle bringing up the rear at 28. But they started with 25 points instead of 45 like the rest of the division because they were a late entry. So we're not too worried about their point standings right now because they were a late entry. So they started with 20 less points than everyone else, and they have a lot of games to make up. So right. They have a lot of points coming their way.
And it stands to be said that everybody makes it to the playoffs. So you may be at 28 points now, but there is that Cinderella story that you can get. You can come into playoffs and you can find your way up to the top. One thing I've noticed about this group is there's not a whole lot of difference between each team. I mean, you have a top to bottom, a clear top to bottom with Munster High School, Carl Sandburg, and Athens being at the top, but you don't see a very steep drop off in points. Right. So most of these games seem to be pretty even. That'll be left to be seen as we go further into the season and see if there is a clear-cut top or bottom. But right now, it seems pretty close.
Absolutely. Like the top slot, Munster High School is at 65, and our bottom is Detroit Catholic Central at 51.
we don't talk about De La Salle.
Well, yeah, we touched on that a little bit. Catholic Central has played 5 games. Munster High School has played 8. So they're 3 games apart. So assuming that Catholic Central can win 3 games and they can tie up their games played, they will only be 6 points apart.
I say, what is that? That's nine more points for them, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it puts them up in the middle of everyone else. I mean, that puts them, 4th? So seriously, 4th. They win 3 games, they're at 4th. Let's go on to Division 3. I think the one thing we need to look at here is Birmingham United is flat out running the show.
Absolutely. They are 7-0 with 51 points right now. Definitely a very strong candidate in Division 3.
They're nipping at the heels of Detroit Catholic Central, a team that is a division above them.
Right behind the Birmingham United team, we have Granville High School at 49 points. We've got Normal Community High School at 44 points. Crestwood High School at 43. Brother Rice also at 43. Adrian High School also at 43. Milan is sitting at 41 points. And Dakota High School is at 38. So we have a very, very large distribution of Division 3 sitting at 43 points. I think it's half of the teams.
Yeah, it's a very crowded middle.
Right, 41, 3 43s, and a 44. So it's very tight division with Birmingham United kind of, at the nose.
I mean, really, it's the battle for 3rd place right now.
Absolutely.
Anyone can take it. I mean, the team to beat is going to be Birmingham United. And honestly, watching their game of the week 2 weeks ago against Granville, those are 2 very good teams, and I expect to see both of them here in May. So next up, we got Division 4. Got Chippewa Valley at 6-2 and Warren Prep at 6-1. I believe Chippewa Valley actually handed Warren Prep their first loss of the season.
They did indeed. Warren Career Prep was undefeated until week 4, where they battled Chippewa Valley High School and got their first loss.
It might be worth noting it was by a forfeit. So, I mean, it's kind of I feel like it's very bittersweet for Chippewa Valley.
Yeah.
You took down the reigning champ, but you didn't really battle them. You just kind of won by default. We'll see what happens, but Warren Career is a very strong team. I think maybe just some time constraints got the best of them. Chippewa Valley is a fantastic team. I mean, they're sitting at 6-2. Them and Warren Career are going to be battling up for that top spot. Divine Child's right behind them at 5-2. We'll see how they go through the rest of the season.
For sure.
And then everybody's bringing up the rear with Macomb, Lake Orion, Loy Norris, and West Bloomfield. And the bottom, I think, is the crowded part in this division.
Absolutely. The bottom 3 teams are all within 4 points of each other. I do think that with a couple wins or losses, it can shift up. I think that some of these maybe low-end teams have the skill to push into the high end, but they're just, I don't know if it's just their matchups are getting the best of them, or they're not communicating like the team can. But I know that these teams can perform well. I've seen highlights of some of their games, and they can do well, and I'm excited to see them pull out some wins in the future.
Next up is Division 5, where we have another team running the show. Clarkston's Wolves are sitting at 7-0, undefeated. They're fantastic. I think we just watched them game of the week this week.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. They did a very good job. They just kind of showed that they're a grade above everyone else in their division. I watched a play where they caught a Nunu out in the river bush in the jungle, just sitting there waiting, and all of a sudden he's got 4 members of Clarkston around him, and he's taken down, and Clarkston's like, yep, now we've got our fight. We're going to go ahead, we're going to grab this dragon, and we're going to push our advantage. The one thing about that game of the week that threw me for a loop was West Catholic played off meta.
Oh yeah, you were saying that earlier.
They played a Vayne top, which is really cool early game whenever you got a ranged champion versus a melee.
Especially Malphite.
Right, but you don't have any of the tanky abilities that you need as you transition later in the game. And I think this one ended around 30 minutes, so you are transitioning into that late game where you need a very solid matchup. Now, if they were able to push their advantage with that Vayne early and get her very fed, it might have been a different story. But Clarkston did what they had to do with fantastic communications, fantastic rotations, and they got the dub.
They really just didn't have a front line.
They didn't.
When they were going into team fights, there was nothing they could do to stop Clarkston from just sweeping their team and going on with their day.
No, your comp whenever you're doing something like that is you're looking for picks. Absolutely. You're looking to catch somebody out where they're not supposed to be, and then you can snowball off of that. But Clarkston did a very good job of anytime somebody was out roaming, they had a buddy.
Yep.
And they had fantastic vision coverage as well. I don't know if West Catholic they may have had vision, but I think it got cleared out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Let's go on to Division 6. This one's interesting. So right now, the top, we have Pinckney Community High School. We have their second team. And then we have Livonia Career, which currently have more points than the last place team in Division 4. They have won so many games that even though they didn't start with any points, they now have more points than somebody 2 divisions above them.
Absolutely. And it's worth noting that the Livonia Career that we're talking about is the Lizards team, not the Phantom team. Yeah. They do have 2 teams in Division 6.
Yeah. Oh wow, I just realized I had 2 teams in Division 6. Yeah, it's a good thing we mentioned that. I mean, that's your top 2 teams. The third is Napoleon Area High School, is one of our few teams from the state of Ohio. Mm-hmm. So it's very, very top heavy, because as soon as you get past Napoleon, it drops straight down to 8 points with Phantom Esports.
Absolutely.
Very crowded top, very crowded bottom. There's no in between. It's like an Oreo with just a top and a bottom cookie. There's no filling.
There's no filling. But it is worth noting that the bottom, our bottom 3 teams, McBain, Austin Catholic, and Northlake, all only have 3 or 4 games played.
So they're missing a lot of games that they could potentially have more points.
Right. They have a lot of potential points that they need to catch back up on.
Hey, McBain, Austin Catholic, and Northlake, get on the ball. Get those points. Give me my creamy filling to my Oreo.
Everybody loves the creamy filling on the Oreo.
With that, we have finished up divisions. We're going to go ahead and take a break and get a word from our sponsors.
I'm on the Blue Devil football team, and that's a great place to be, because other colleges wouldn't let me be both a football player and a nursing student. And just because I'm a dog on the field doesn't mean I can't take care of people. And man, do I love people. The small class size at LTU give me awesome access to my nursing professors. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.
I love working for Stryker.
I'm genuinely excited to come to work every day.
We support each other and look out for each other.
I love Stryker because we are like a family.
At Stryker, I own my career.
There are so many different places Stryker can take me in the next 5 years.
Together, with our
customers,
we are driven
to make
healthcare better.
Great people with a strong mission and values can accomplish great things together.
We're getting reports that you have over 40,000 flavor combinations.
That's right.
May I examine one, ma'am? Is this real cheese?
100% real mozzarella, officer.
Explain this dough.
Made fresh daily.
I'm gonna have to confiscate this as evidence.
Aren't you a mall cop?
All units, someone's in the fountain.
10-4, Tiger on the prowl.
Flavor fanatics will do anything for our one-of-a-kind flavored crust pizza with meal deals for every budget.
Hungry?
Howie!
It's hard for young people to get financed, and Michigan Legacy helped me get my first auto loan. For that, I'm forever grateful, and I love this credit union.
At Michigan Legacy Credit Union, students are eligible to get a car loan without a cosigner. We are offering car loans to members who are 18 years or older and have not established credit yet. If you have a job, Michigan Legacy Credit Union can provide a car loan you can afford, allowing you to make your first big purchase. Go to MichiganLegacyCU.org to learn more. Start your financial future with Michigan Legacy Credit Union.
And welcome back. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a look into week 5, and we're going to start off with our games of the week. Our games of the week this week are going to be Carl Sandburg High School, a former team that we already highlighted this season. So this is their second appearance on our game of the week, and Athens High School. With these two, the story here is going to be who is going to take third place. These are the two of the top teams in their division, sitting at 61 points apiece. They only have one loss. So, as you mentioned before, Munster High School, the only reason they have more points than them is because they've played more games physically. Right. These two teams with a win whoever wins is going to be in second place, whoever loses is going to be in third place, because below them is 58. So it's pretty much, let's get that solid separation.
Right, absolutely. They are neck and neck, so yeah, it's going to be exciting. I think that they, as far as skill level goes, they're very tight. Yeah, it's going to be a fun game to watch.
And since we've seen Carl Sandburg before, we saw what they were able to do on the digital battlefield.
Right, absolutely.
And it was very high level play. It was fantastic to watch. I think it was probably one of my more favorite games of the week. And I will reiterate, as I have week in and week out, they are my dark horse to make it to LTU and win it all. I'm telling you right now, write it down, quote me on it. They are going to win it all.
Oh yeah. I'll hold you to that.
All right. Our second game of the week is going back to Division I, where we get Buchanan High School versus Lake Forest. Lake Forest may sound very familiar to you because they just got highlighted this last week. But this is a game for, once again, third place, with Lake Forest sitting at 73 points and Buchanan sitting at 74. If Lake Forest gets the win, they get those 3 points. They sit at 76. Boom, solid third. If Buchanan wins, boom, they're a solid third at 77. Lake Forest didn't do a bad job. I think they just had a bad matchup this last week. So we'll see if they play another split push York, or if they switch up a little bit and they end up with something more competitive in the late game, or if they stick with what they've got and see if it works again. So that wraps it all up for us here at State Champs Esports Day. Once again, we want to say thank you to our sponsors, Respawn, Lawrence Tech University, Michigan Legacy Credit Union, Hungry Howie's, and Stryker. You can find all the information you need for us on all of our social media accounts, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Twitch. Make sure you drop that Twitch follow, and so you can keep up on all of our games of the week this year.